of Icons 2022 is about to get underway, and we're coming to you live from the Suntech Convention Center in Singapore. I'm Mika Fabs, and with me today on our desk is Stuart and Hell's Devil. I need to ask you guys how you guys are, and that's a very specific question because yesterday was a bit difficult for a number of reasons, but mostly because Stuart here, you became the butt of so many memes. Are you feeling better now?
I'm feeling okay. I got some rest now. I'm ready to go for today. But yeah, yesterday was a really, really bad day for EU, especially with Hell's Castle as well.
Yeah, unfortunate day for EU. I mean, I kind of expected it. Game Lords, they didn't have some good games. But I got to be real honest with you. I kind of changed regions now. I'm a big Brazil guy now after seeing Liberty play.
I mean, I think they would take you with open arms. They would take you with open arms. I have to call you guys out, though, with not sticking to your regions right now because it's full-on SCA pride for me today. Unashamedly so. I will just put that out there. That's just going to be me for today. So excited for our matches today. But yesterday, we had a few really, really good matches. And it was quite revealing, Stuart, because we actually saw that, the Chinese teams, they actually took another region took a game off of a Chinese region.
Yeah, Nova really struggled yesterday against Furious Gaming. I think they struggled a bit in terms of the team fights. They kind of took the pedal off the metal, you can say, especially in the second game. But they still had Long in the jungle as well, which still popped off. But I think in general, I think China is still going to be the best region. But there are possibilities that a team could take a game or two off of them.
Yeah.
And one team that I do think can take a game or two of them, and maybe even a whole series, is a Brazilian team, which is Liberty again, right? Like, I told you this about them. I think they're great. They're just not consistent. So if Liberty can do this, I actually think, Brazil is going to be a very, very strong region in this tournament right now.
I love how Hells just completely did a total 180 in less than 24 hours.
I mean, you watched this game, right? You watched this game. Mano Freezer on those champions was just crazy and just all out. All of these players, their gameplay was so good. Kinzen in the jungle, and I just feel like this could potentially become even the best team in the Icon series right now, even though they're the third seed of Brazil, Mika.
Are you sure? Are you prepared to stand by that?
As I said, consistency, because that is their main problem. That is also why they got third place in Brazil. These guys are amazing, but they're not consistent. They lost that game against Sentinels, which they should have won. They were better, but they lost in Elder Dragon, right? These are ways that they very often lose. They make bad calls, and then those bad calls just lose their entire game.
I think another interesting point was when we had our post-game interview with Beginnings from Sentinels, he mentioned how, in the scrims, it actually is closer than we think. And I think that was so interesting. That was such an interesting note to end on because what we're seeing right now, it could be the dawn of a new time here at Wild Rift Icons. And I think it is Southeast Asia's time. I just have to put that right there.
We're going to hear this throughout the whole day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You have me now on the desk. But yes, it's good that you brought up Nova because they are our first match of the day. We're going to have a lot of time to talk about them later. But right now, I think we're seeing a whole lot of talent on this stage. I'm not just, tapping ourselves on the back over here. We're talking about the players here behind us. Whole lot of talent. And we haven't even seen our invited teams, the group stages. But right now, who are your top 5 players? I think we've seen a lot of players right now really give their all. Hells, let's start with you.
So, obviously Andres, I still have to mention it, but we haven't seen him yet. So the one guy that I do want to talk about is Mano Freezer. This is a new player that I've put on my list right here, and this guy is just unbelievable. You know what's crazy to me? It just really seems like the junglers and the support players are incredible, because as you can see on my list, 4 out of 5 players are either junglers or supports. However, Luna, this guy breaks my rules. This guy is incredible. His Vayne, just any ADC that he plays is absolutely incredible. And we're going to see him during the group stage, but now we got to focus on Mano Freezer. He's going to be playing very soon.
I got to say, after that series, Mano Freezer, he almost won me over. But then we had What the Jess on SEA's side. First up, though, before I reveal my own, Stuart, what do you think? Agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I agree with the Mano Freezer. I think Mano Freezer is definitely going to be one to watch as well. But my list is a little bit different. I'm focusing more on, all the playing teams. I've got Lonely Kid, obviously got my bold prediction, correct yesterday. He got the solo kill as well. Helios as well in the mid lane for RRQ as an SEA fan. I'm sure you know how good Helios is, especially on the Z as well. Long coming in, even though Nova did have a struggle yesterday. Long is still the best NA MVP from China, and then What the Jess in the support role. I think that matchup later between What the Jess and Man of Freezer is going to be a banger.
Oh yes, I cannot wait for that. But we're getting too ahead of ourselves. I love that you have Long and What the Jess over there because they actually make my top 5 as well. Right now, I think that, it is all about these major playmakers right here. I am very much biased, as you can see, towards our Eastern teams over here. But I think Zeki from Kwangdong Freaks is somebody to watch out for. Coyote as well from Team Flash. We haven't seen him just yet, but just you wait. And of course, we have What the Jess and Long over here. Yesterday, I think the play by What the Jess on the Thresh was just amazing. We'll have to let me look at his profile pic right here. How can you not pick this?
He's got
guy?
the energy. Let's go.
Yeah. And you have Long, which we will, of course, highlight later as we jump into our first series. And I have to give it up for my boy, of course, Chaz on RRQ. Definitely one of the best junglers to watch out for the SEA region. But right now, let's see how all of the teams are currently doing in our brackets. I believe we have Group A up first. And Stuart, what are you thinking right now with the brackets? I know we gave predictions very, very early on. Is that similar to what you predicted so far?
Yeah, I think everything here is kind of as I expected. Flashball's beating Game Lord, even though it is hard for us EU fans. Game Lord has a little bit of struggle with obviously that roster, and then Nova taking down Furious Gaming, even though it wasn't a easy task for Nova like we expected. But then that lower bracket now gets really interesting. Game Lord against Furious Gaming. As an EU fan, I'm kind of worried, to be honest with you.
I'm very worried, Stuart. What am I supposed to say? Like, Furious Gaming looked very, very strong, and I just don't think Game Lord has what it takes. Well, they showed they can play well, but still, they got a whole new jungler right now. It's going to be so hard to beat out that team.
Exactly.
Yeah, and hold that thought with Furious Gaming because we are going over to Group B. And right now, I'm going to say I'm very, very nervous with how this bracket is looking. I'll let that all out a little bit later. But Stuart, what are you thinking right now with the brackets for Group B?
I think that upper bracket match, JDG versus RRQ, is probably going to be the best matchup today as well. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely insane. Probably the closest matchup in my opinion. And then the bottom of the bracket as well, Japan against LATAM. That's also going to be another crazy matchup. Again, it's kind of everything as we expected so far. No really big surprises. It's just that big, massive upper bracket matchup that we're going to see later today.
Yeah, I'm already sweating. But
Yeah.
I just have
Ready
to
for
share
the
that
pressure.
on here. Yeah,
It was
I'm
me
already
yesterday
sweating.
getting memed. It was Degon yesterday
gonna
getting
take that
memed.
from
And
you.
now Mika's going to stay far away from the camera as soon as RRQ plays.
Yes, I don't want to reveal too much of what happens to me when I freak out. But going over to Group C before I freak out too much, Hells, what are you thinking right now? We have J-Team and T1 as our front runners, and we have Rix and Vivo Key.
Yeah, this was a bit of an unfortunate group for me personally, right? Like, Rix lost against T1. It was a very exciting match. Honestly, I'm more excited about the lower bracket match than I am about the upper bracket match. Rix against Keith. That's gonna be an amazing match between the two Western teams, but J-Team as well, right? Like, we're gonna see China in action again. Like, both of these games, bangers again. And this group seemed quite close as well.
And heading over really quickly to Group D, Hells, once again, we are because this is the group with your favorite team now, which is going to be Liberty.
And this was the most surprising group for me, right? Like, I genuinely thought Sentinels would win against Liberty. I thought Sentinels was gonna take it, but Liberty was just on another level. And then BRU and KDF2. Liberty against BRU is gonna be a banger. Let me say that right now, but then also Sentinels against KDF. One of them is gonna get eliminated, which makes me very sad.
Oh, I know. It's gonna be an exciting day. And just as we pull up our schedule right now, every single series is gonna have me on the edge of my seat. Just look at that. You have Nova Esports and Flash Wolves. You have JD Gaming versus RRQ. You have J-Team versus T1. And Barum United Esports versus Liberty. Stuart, are you JD Gaming and RRQ? Is that the series you have your eyes on? Are there any others?
That's a series that I definitely have my eyes on. I think every single game is going to be really, really important. For those of you at home that don't really understand the bracket that much, every single team that wins today will go through to the group stage as the first seed from the play-ins, which is absolutely huge. I think today's going to be a big day because it's the teams that already won, so it's like the best teams in the play-ins right now. And it's also just dominated by the Eastern teams. We got 3 Chinese teams, 3 SEA teams, 1 Korean, and that lonely Western team, which is a Brazilian team.
We got 3 Western regions, but we only have 1 team sitting right there. That's a bit concerning, Stuart, but let's just pray that at least they're gonna make it to the group group stage.
Only we can hope.
That's right. And it was, I mean, we don't have a lot of time for the play-ins, but it was just the first 2 days. We have a whole schedule today, tomorrow, and on Saturday as well. We're going to see what else these guys have up their sleeves. Maybe they're not showing what's in their hand just yet. But we are focusing on Nova Esports right now because I think we have some words from Nova Esports' remake. Let's check out this little tidbit.
大家好，我是来自 WL 赛区 NOA 战队的射手 Remake。我觉得我们今天表现得不够完美吧，因为我们在第二把前期有很大优势的情况下输掉了比赛。这不是我们所预想的。我觉得他们在劣势的时候那种不放弃，然后一直在找机会，那种精神确实挺让我们意外的。然后大家都很想赢，所以就要更加努力。然后但反正就是要不断进步吧。我们对于闪电狼的话。也是有一点了解吧，因为我们之前在9层的纪律嘛，就是还有一层怕自己骄傲吧。感谢粉丝们一直以来的支持吧。然后我们其实也有很多状况起伏不定的时候，然后他们也一直没有放弃我们吧，然后一直一如既往的支持我们。谢谢大家。
That is so interesting. It appears that Nova Esports' biggest enemies are themselves and Hells. Yesterday, of course, we did see Nova struggle just a little bit. And do you think that's going to happen again today?
We don't know much about Flash Wolves. Just when he said that, I knew they were going to struggle. Because if you don't know how Flash Wolves play, they're going to destroy you. Because their playstyle is so aggressive. They constantly roam around. They constantly follow up Cookie in the jungle. And they put him on a late game jungler as well. So if you don't know how to play against it, you're going to lose in the late game as well.
Well, it looks like, Hells, you are ready to call out Nova Esports right there. But before that, I have to remind you that they do have Long on their side.
Yeah.
They do have this guy over here making a weird pose. I couldn't quite figure out. It's okay. I was like,
Like a
trying
little
to
wrist thing.
Yeah. He's flexing his wrist.
Yeah, he's pretending
He's
to have
getting
a
ready
watch.
for that Baron seal. That's what he's doing because that was one of the most amazing plays that I have seen so far in Wild Rift, Stewart.
Yeah, the highlight of Nova is still Long in the jungle. I think yesterday, when the rest of his team didn't really perform too well, Long, he was actually huge in the jungle. Even though they lost their second game, they still got the Baron still on Long. In the third game as well, he realized that he can actually play champions like a Wukong, which is maybe not this aggressive hyper carry jungler that we know from Long, but it's more of a supportive style. But again, he came up absolutely huge in that series, and I think Nova as a team in general have to step up huge because Flash Wolves is just a different beast.
Oh, definitely. And here it is. This is the moment. This is the moment where it was, undoubtedly, Long is one of the best junglers in China, if not the best. The Phantom Thief of the Chinese region. Look at that.
You see how he just blocked the Alistar?
I was going to say
as
that,
well?
yeah. He parried the Alistar headbutt, then he flashed it, he queued over the wall, and he still got the Baron
It's
still.
giving me
Crazy.
Andres Z vibes right here, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, right. We don't really see this a lot in EU, but Andres is the one guy that can do this. So it's interesting to see that we have other junglers that do the exact same thing, right?
I think the crazy thing is as well is that, Long being the MVP from China and China pretty much being the best region kind of by all of us analysts standard. So basically they're saying that he's like the best player in China, which is a huge boost to fill.
Yeah, the Baron was at 800.
That's crazy.
812. What a window. That was just amazing. And, I just have to bring this up. In our post-game interview yesterday with Flash Wolves, Isan also said that Nova Esports could be their next big rival. Yesterday, during the pre-show video, they said, oh, Flash Wolves have no rival. I think they saw something in Nova Esports yesterday that made them think, because they mentioned that they've done a little bit of extra research just for Nova Esports. So both of these teams are definitely sweating as they're looking at each other across the stage, our beautiful stage that we have here. And, Hells, you mentioned how Flash Wolves, they love their objectives like anything. Is that the key to their victory?
I think the key to their victory is just sticking to their strengths, right? Like just rotating around. We have Baya in the mid lane, Bruce in the dragon lane. We saw that Baya played just like Bruce used to play in the mid lane, which is constantly roam around Cookie all the time. And they did it as well. Like Baya played his role perfectly. I think them constantly ganking around and around is gonna be the key to the victory. And indeed, who's gonna win the objective game? Fun fact, both of these teams nearly got every single objective in their previous games. So that raises the question, who's gonna win the objective game this time?
Yeah, and Stuart, I think you wanted to bring up something about Bruce and his playstyle as well, and how that could help Flash Wolves.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about yesterday is that we thought Bruce was going to stay in that mid lane, but they actually did a role swap, which is quite interesting because Bayer's come into the squad as a sub. So Bayer's now in the mid lane and Bruce is now in the bot lane. But the thing is about that is that Bruce used to play the AD carries even in the mid lane as well. So it's a comfortable position for him. And I think there's just like a little bit of a clash of playstyles. So, you've got Long in the jungle where they focus for Nova. And then Flash Wolves is all about Bruce, all about playing around that bot lane, trying to get Bruce ahead. And he showed yesterday, on the Kai'Sa, on the Xayah, that he can still carry even in the bot lane as well.
Well, we're going to have to depend on Bruce Almighty if he can indeed carry Flash Wolves over to this victory. Nova Esports, though, it looks like they are ready. They've been eyeing Flash Wolves from, a mile away. They know that these guys are definitely a threat. I have to ask you guys, though, which way is this going to go? What do you? I'm excited to see your predictions because I know mine. I definitely know mine.
Yeah, I know mine
it's
as well.
SEA girl over here. So your predictions.
Oh.
Oh, you guys are my friends.
It's
you guys are my friends.
easy. It's easy. So let me tell you right here, it just felt like Flash Wolves really stuck to their strengths, and I honestly thought that it would be a weakness of them because they had Baya in the mid lane now, right? Like it's a substitute, but they played it perfectly. Like as I said, Baya filled Bruce's shoes in the mid lane perfectly, and then Bruce in the Dragon lane, as Stuart mentioned, it seemed like it's just a main Dragon laner. He did his job perfectly, and the beauty was of this team as well. Eason was roaming around all the time, which is another thing that they love to do, and Bruce was safe. Bruce did not get killed in this Dragon lane. He was constantly positioned correctly, constantly had a lot of vision. They just played their game perfectly.
Yeah.
And another thing to mention as well, about Ysera in the Baron lane as well. He didn't have the great first game where Lonely killed him a couple of times, but the second game on the Darius was huge for him. He outplayed Only Kid as well, and I think Ysera as a player is definitely going to come into this series with a lot more confidence now, especially after that second game. But again, that's another player to look out for.
If you can outplay Lonely Kid, you can outplay anyone, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Ysera really surprised us, especially in that second game where he indeed just outplayed Lonely Kid, who is the biggest, or one of the biggest stars of Europe. So it's crazy to see how every single player of Fresh Wolves truly showed how good they were in the last series.
Okay, so I love that, you guys are definitely on the SCA train right
We're with
now.
you, with you this
Yeah,
game.
I
We're with
like
you.
it. But I just have to call you out a little bit about, suddenly changing your stance and, especially Hell's over here. I'm asking, are you guys prepared to stand by your predictions all the way?
For Flash Wolves, yes. They've showed me enough already in the first series. And it's basically the same as Liberty. These two teams really have showed me, right? Like they can do this. And I can tell, if there is a team that wins the whole thing, it's going to be one of these teams, one of China's teams, but these guys are up there.
Are you prepared to bet something on that?
Yes.
Oh.
Right now I am.
Okay.
I'm confident in my
Okay,
teams right
okay.
now.
So here's the thing. With our predictions, whoever comes in last with the least number of correct predictions has to draw a losing team's logo on their forehead for the post show.
Oh, you actually had something prepared for this. I just said yes for the show, but
Yeah. No. Wow. Are you guys game for it?
Let's go.
yeah, let's
do it.
go. Sure,
All
let's do it
right.
then.
I like it. I'm gonna get the draw. I have been preparing for this moment, by the way.
I know there's a little bit of a story as well, on SEA and
yes.
everything, and
Yes.
you've got a little bit of story behind that. But now you've got EU people on here as
Oh
well.
yeah.
So
No, I wanted to
little
bring
bit
you
different.
guys into this.
the SEA love,
Yes,
showing the SEA
yes.
love around the world.
This is how we show love. I get to draw on your faces. I don't know why that's an expression of love.
Are you going to be drawing our faces if we
Yeah.
lose?
And who's gonna draw on your face if you lose?
I will.
Oh,
Are
that
you a
sounds
good
fair.
artist
Yeah.
then? Can you do it?
Or if you want to do it, that's fine.
I
Yeah,
don't
I'm gonna
know.
do
Are
that
you-
for sure.
Are you good? Are you good?
Oh yeah, I'm
artist?
gonna draw on her face if she loses for sure. Yeah, that's gonna happen at the end.
Okay,
Of the
I wasn't too confident, but if you're confident you could do that, like, go ahead.
Something's definitely going down in the post show, okay? So I bet you guys need to stay until the very end of the show to see what's gonna go on here. I think you're gonna. I don't trust you all of a sudden. I don't
That's the
trust
good
you
thing
drawing
about
on
it.
my face. But we're gonna head it over to your casters right now, TJ and Omo. I noticed, by the way, that Omo has been changing height all the way. I had to call that out because it's like, Omo, what are you doing? What are you doing? What is going on this time, Omo? You gotta let me know. Please, explain something. You can't be taller than TJ.
就是我们这次打那个 Icons 的话，我觉得我们 WR 赛区还是有很大概率去能拿下这个全球冠军杯的。我们会先研究眼前的队伍，比如说我们上一场的对手。然后去赢下他们之后，再去研究下一场的对手。
I think last season in the horizon they are really the top region. But now I really can see region can beat China region now.
就希望都全力以赴吧，就赢下下一个 BO3就能出现了嘛，挺关键的，我觉得。
JDG is a really good team. We really need to face their aggression. We are going to fight fire with fire.
GG and Flashwolf just asserting their dominance.
我们对于闪电狼的话也是有一点了解吧，因为我们之前在中国的时候也跟他们打过几次训练赛，然后我觉得他们的打野选手吧，也是他们队内的核心，其实跟我们龙可以一较高下吧，到时候。
在我们眼里 ，Nova 是一支蛮强的队伍。我觉得他们的打野选手 Zong 是一个操作非常好，然后非常强的一个打野选手，但是我们还是会尽力去战胜他们。
我觉得是说把我们在国内那些努力，然后带到国际上来吧，让大家能感受到我们的对电子竞技的一份态度吧。
我觉得 WCS 跟 WR 有落差并没有很大。我会打败你的 Zong。
Welcome back to our Coliseum here in Singapore, where we've got some more League of Legends Wild Rift action. My name is TJ, joined by Omo. Leonard, we have some pretty sick games today.
When we asked the cast together, TJ, we expected we would get some fun games where we could have a bit of a chat going on. But the games today...
I will be honest, I thought they would put us on the worst games. If they let us task together at all, they would put us somewhere where we couldn't do too much damage.
But guess what, TJ?
They gave us some radical games,
We got the best games here. We've got some amazing teams, and they're competing for the biggest prize in play-ins to make it to groups.
I've got two teams for you. You tell me how sick they are. You ready?
Yeah.
Nova Esports, Flashwolves.
Pretty sick.
Pretty sick.
Pretty sick stuff.
Let's get into it. We saw a little bit of trash talk in that little video.
Yeah.
They were saying that they're looking forward to facing Long in the jungle.
Long against Cookie.
You had some thoughts about that.
I had a lot of hopes coming into this one for Long. We were building him up on the analyst desk, but I'm going to be very honest with you here. Nova Esports dropping the ball against Furious. Long was a big part of that loss as well. They're going to need to redeem themselves in the eyes of the fans back home, in the eyes of the world, in this matchup against the Flashwolves.
And I would like to explain something to Mika. She was questioning your kind of ever-changing height. You're the same height as Tom Cruise, is what's going on.
Let's not use that comparison here. I'm not a fan of that one.
We're going to get to the draft here for our very first game of the day. A best of 3, and the winner of this goes to the group stage. The winner of this is out of the play-ins. They're safe. They advance to the next stage of play. Here at Icons, the loser has to play one more match with their elimination from the tournament on the line for the last chance out of this group.
And if you look at the bans right away, you see both teams just emphasizing how important the jungle matchup is going to be. Flashwolves taking away Long's Lee Sin, Long's Kha'Zix, not going to let him play Mick. And if you call back to what Flashwolves played as well yesterday, Olaf was a big part of their success.
Yeah, let's talk about the Flashwolves side of things, because for Nova, we've seen what they bring on a good day. It's Long, diving into fights, starting things off. For Flashwolves, though, they had to make a pretty major change to their roster, to their playstyle, coming into this event.
Yeah, if you look at the roster between WCS Finals and right now at Icons, you might ask, Baya's in the mid lane, Bruce is in AD. What's going on right now? So basically, the long story is that their Dragon Laners couldn't make it. And the best part is Flash Wolves had 2 Dragon Laners. Both of them couldn't make it.
They had a backup and everything.
And guess what? Bruce, their mid laner, used to play AD. So guess what? They have 3 Dragon Laners ready to go. Bruce goes back in there.
Whenever I travel to events, I bring extra batteries for all my devices in my backpack. They're doing that with ADs.
I like to live dangerously. I don't have any sort of preparation like that. But if you look across the rift, if you look at Nova, you might see a bit of a change up in their roster as well here.
Yeah, we've seen a very important change actually for them. Guoguo, who's their all-star mid laner during the regular season, out for this event. Also couldn't make the tournament, so they brought in Neon from Weibo Gaming to be that mid laner.
And honestly, Nian hasn't been doing poorly, but I think part of the reason why we haven't been seeing Long pop off as much is he doesn't have Guoguo to work off of. These 2 guys were so good together. They were 2 stars in their own right. And if you look at the draft right now, Nova, they're going back to basics. They're going back to what works for them. Let Long carry the game. Let's play around it, boys.
But I have to say, it's an instant buy-in to Flash Wolves' strengths. As soon as you see that Senna Jax, you know that Nova Esports are planning on playing the late game here.
Yes.
And Flash Wolves are the quintessential late game team, as evidenced by the fact that they've gone Yuumi, Wukong as their own 1-2.
You know what I would like to see here from the side of Nova? You know what would be the best scaling combo I can think of right now? We saw what the Jazz play Sona into Yuumi. Now imagine a world where we play Senna Sona with Sona farming. It's never gonna happen, because it's terrible.
I don't like imagining that world, Leonard.
It's terrible, but I'm just saying that would be peak scaling right there.
And the only match where we would see that is Flash Wolves versus Nova.
Possibly, yeah, right? And we do see Nova as a bit of a slower team, as evidenced by this draft, but they're not afraid to play aggressively as well. That's the strong fundamentals. Based on the draft, they can adapt.
And I want to flag that as they double down further on this late game, because the late game is where they got into trouble. That is how they dropped a game to Furious Gaming, which nobody saw coming.
Yes.
It was an incredible performance from Furious Gaming. They won the team fights off their own sweat and blood, but Nova gave them the window by letting them get to that late game.
And that comes down to draft as well. Nova's Game 2 loss was evidenced by a lack of early game playmaking, a lack of late game scaling. Well, if you look at their draft right now, the one thing they're never going to be lacking in is scaling. All 3 champions here, well, 2 champions scale infinitely, and Jax just has an insane break points.
So, loads of scaling on Nova, nothing that can do damage during the early game. Is there anything on Flash Wolves that can take advantage of?
Well, that's the problem right now. You see the Corki, yeah, you might say he has the package. Once you hit the timing windows, 5 minutes around the dragon fights, Corki's gonna be great there. That's pretty much the only early game we see from Flash Wolves right now. A lot of their team comp is also gonna be defaulting back to scaling, where I do think Nova have an edge so far. I like the Akali band. That's one of ESA's highest win rate champions, and that pick also counters what I expect to see from Flash Wolves, which is gonna be a lot of tank tops. And Nova's draft right now looks so scary.
So this Singed here gives them more tools to reach that late game, gives them more devastating late game power. It also means that Neon, maybe after that performance that they felt was a little bit shaky, is being assigned to the mid lane equivalent of Tank Dude.
Pretty much, right? But this draft tells me one thing. All 2s in the long basket. This is what the Chinese regions call fall facilitate. One, you're exactly seeing that play out on your screens right now. Akali band, we know what Ysera's gonna play. It's gonna be the Garen. That's good scaling as well. That's good frontlining. It's gonna be very effective against the poke from the Nasus, against the Singe trying to run in and flip you. It's a pretty good answer overall, but what's ESA's counter pick gonna be? He has his pick of the litter here.
Yeah, and whatever it is, it needs to give them the team fight power to answer this in the late game, or maybe to avoid the late game.
Well, Baya played a couple Zed games yesterday, and he looked mechanically really solid. I would love to see this matchup play out.
And I think that actually does both. Because if Zed gets an early lead, that's somebody who can really terrorize many of these picks during the early and mid game. Give Flash Wolves a quick victory where they put Nova far enough behind it they don't come out on top. But also, Zed, very good in the late game, can help those Flash Wolves 5v5 team fights.
And we already talked about how Nova has such a good scaling team composition. They just added another ticking time bomb with this Camille into Garen matchup. The longer this game goes on, the more Camille's gonna do to you in the side lane. She kicks you once, that's a bar of health gone. She kicks your tower once, that's a play gone.
Is this draft sick or radical?
Both drafts are sick and radical right now.
Oh my god!
We're in for a good one, TJ. I think it's going to be a banger of a game. I like that Envy have playmaking tools in the early game. You got Hook Shot, you got Hextech Ultimatum, you got the flips coming in. These are good playmaking tools, so even though you're a scaling comp, you can still take fights. Whereas on the side of Flash Wolves, Zad, Cocky Package, Wukong early game, you know they're not afraid to take fights as well around objectives.
So just to kind of boil this down, for Nova, watch long, watch that Jax. If you're over on the Flash Wolf side, you're trying to shut that Jax down, stop them from getting so big that they destroy the late game.
The Jax is definitely a key part of that, but if you look at the rest of the team comp, Camille is going to be a big problem as well. The 1-3-1 factor, the ability to just kick down your turrets. Both the Camille, both the Jax can just threaten your side lane turrets if you ever made a mistake, and I don't think Flash Wolf's team comp can deal with that 1-3-1.
No, but the Flash Wolves team comp does have really good late game team fights. If they can
5v5s.
engineer those 5v5s, find Nova at the major objectives, fight them over dragons, fight them over barons, they have a chance in this game.
Well, definitely, but Nova is not afraid to is not gonna shy away from these team fights as well. Like I said, what are you looking out for when Nova comes into the team fights? It's gonna be pick tools. Now imagine a world, if you will, TJ, where you get with it, Cinch runs at you, flips you. What do you really do there?
Cry.
Pretty much, right? Like you QSS the winner, I guess, but then he withers you again in 12 seconds, so what do you do there?
And normally you have someone like Eason who can be that insurance policy, who can slide in through the fights on like a tank carry and kind of rescue you. On Yuumi, no rescue coming.
Yeah, Eason has been a very big playmaker for the side of Flash Wolves. Today, he won't have that ability, at least in game 1. But if you look at Yuumi, the raw power of Yuumi is just her entire thing, right? You boot through AP, you do a lot of damage, you scale so well, you give the ability to players like Bruce to carry.
Here's a fun factoid. We've seen a lot of, especially from Chinese teams, that 3-man start in the middle of the map.
Yes.
They did a 3-man start with Long in the middle of the map just now.
Yeah, that's a bit interesting. I think when you consider this jungle matchup, you want to avoid it as much as possible. That 3-man start will give Long a bit of EXP, a bit of timing away from the pure 1v1 against Cookie. But you see Cookie coming in right now. He has a bit of a tempo lead. You have a bot lane push lead. You could try to go for an invade here, or even a dive.
Here's Sarah already getting bullied a bit by Yais in the top side.
It's not that bad right now. You remember what Lonely Kid did to him yesterday?
True! Down bottom, there's yet more bullying happening.
This.
Remake miles away from that wave as it crashes against the turret. Nova being denied so much gold.
And look at what's going on right now. Nian roams down to save his dragon lane, and they give Long the farm in mid while that happens.
Bruce getting tacked up.
They're good. They're chilling. The main thing I want to tell you about right now, TJ, is the absurdity of Yuumi is she's such a great scaling champion that has one of the best 1v1s in the game at level 1.
Remember when we were like, Yuumi is really powerful, and then we read the patch notes where they buffed Yuumi?
Yeah. The crazy thing about Yuumi is not even, oh, I hit you with Prowling Projectile and that hurts. She literally walks to your face, autos you, heals herself, and keeps autoing you. How does the cat do that?
Well, I find it best not to ask. Just run away from the Yuumi and or ban her. Kind of interesting as well. First item, Oblivion Orb in lane for Eason.
Yeah, I mean, a large part of how the Nasa Senna wants to function in lane is that they have a lot of sustain. Senna has the healing with her Piercing Light. I mean, wait, it's not called Piercing Light, that's Lucian. It's okay, let's move on from that one.
Yeah,
Nasus also has lifesteal inbuilt to his passive. So when he hits the creeps, when he goes for last hits, he's going to be healing up there as well.
So, Oblivion Orb, of course, cuts the healing, makes it so that when Remake heals Yami, doesn't do as much HP regen.
Yeah. And of course, he has the ability to just walk up to you, hit you, throw Qs out, prowling projectiles in your face. This is not going to be a play. I mean, this is just never going to work.
Long, I think it's worth mentioning, Long really wants to find a play down there. They are really trying to stabilize that lane.
This is more of a, I have nothing to do on the map right now, so let me just chill here, give you guys some space to push it out. Because we always talk about tempo as being relative, right? I sacrifice my timings to give you guys tempo. In return, you need to sacrifice your timings to give me tempo. Well, that's not happening anymore. Now he's just trying to force a play.
Yeah, they need a play. He's 100 gold behind in that lane. Here we go. Dive into the front line. Bruce manages to slide away. Use of the Valkyrie gets him to safety. Remake doesn't have the damage this early on.
That's a bit interesting. Eason still has Ignite. They honestly might have been able to trade kills, and that's why I didn't like the force here for Envy. Initially, you could say, sure, Long didn't have camps. He's just chilling, giving them space, but his camps all came back up. He could have just reset. He could have just tried to go for more farm, and that would have served him better. But he tried to force the play a little bit too hard right there, and I think that attempt just backfired for Envy.
Well, I mean, how bad is it that
It's not
Remake is behind in lane, that Yami is behind in lane?
Yeah,
How bad
it's not
is that?
too bad, honestly. If you look at the itemization from Remake and Yami, they both have the tier of the goddesses. They can just scale up. They're happy to just fall back a little bit in lane. But Nova, I think they don't want to concede anything right now, which is why they're just forcing the place. But that means that Cookie has found... Well, I was going to say Cookie's found something on the map, but not quite.
Well,
He's a bit behind in gold
Literally
still.
something. It's a Rift Scuff.
Well, yeah. He hasn't quite managed to get any counter jungling down. He's had a bit of a lead in the mid lane. They haven't done too much with that yet. That's bad. He's dead.
Oh yeah, Eason just gone. Bruce pounding in some damage, but doesn't have enough of it yet. Here comes Remake. If he lands a root here, Bruce is in trouble. He'll have to
that's
burn
really
the
bad.
package to get away.
And that all started from Eason trying to be a bit too aggressive there. You know that Yuumi has a strong laning phase, but that's in isolation. That's in 2v2. Flash, Hextag Ultimatum, there's absolutely no counterplay for you as a Yuumi.
Really rough. Very smart by Remake to
Really
realize
smart,
that
yeah.
the package is in Bruce's pocket and he's going to have to spend it in order to Valkyrie away.
Really smart from Isa as well.
Yeah. Objectives are up, of course, our first of the game, and that package won't be here to help fight it. Flash Wolves starting on this Rift Herald. Ocean Drake down bottom, getting picked up by Nova.
Yeah, this is just going to be a trade here, but Flash Wolves want to stop this. They want to interfere with the dragon.
Yiza pushing in on that Rift Herald up top. In the meantime, down here, Baya's trying to work in. Rift Herald did get picked up by Flash Wolves. Here's the dive. Deep in. Nova secure that Drake. Neon in the meantime, working away at Ysera. Deep dive from Eason. He's able to pick up Remake. Long down already. Ysera finally goes down. It's just Yami inside the pit. He can't keep up with the fight. He'll flash over the wall, chasing Baya on very low HP.
And that was such a close fight there. Flash Wolves nearly had it, but the Nasus untouched ended up being a big factor in that team fight. I want to just double check that Cookie did pick up the Rift Herald.
I think he
There
did,
we go. Yeah, that scared me for a second, but it's all good. He got that one. It's just going to be a standard trait, but Nova come up a bit on top in terms of kills, and they're going to have a slight gold lead right now.
A very important fight for Nova because they're looking to scale. They're looking to get to the late game with Yami out ahead.
Yami and Yuumi being the same game is kind of confusing me. I just hope that Yami never
struggling
picks
with
Yuumi.
it as well. Yeah. Well, if Yami picks Yuumi, then it's not a big deal.
Then that's
you
fine.
can use them interchangeably.
That is true. I do want to point out Bruce's itemization right now. Dragon Lane Cocky doesn't need the Howlbreaker, goes for full damage, has the Storm Razor completed. That's going to be a nice little power spike from him. Other than that, the game state is still pretty even. Now imagine that fight, imagine that Dragon setup. If Bruce had the package, I see it going completely
100%.
differently. So it's a really good timing from Nova to
Use
make
it
the
back
earlier
in
play.
here against Ysera. Ysera pulling
nice.
back behind the turret, hit by the Hextech ultimatum. Here comes Long as well, trying to burn him down with the stun. Counter-strike, easy kill for Nova.
Love that play from Yiza right there. The Ignite to cancel out the healing from the Honey Fruit. And with a Camille, with a Jax, you know they're going to one-shot that turret.
Very well done, and there's that gold lead beginning to snowball into Long's pocket.
I like what we're seeing from Nova here today. I like that Nova have started to wake up. They're starting to play exactly the way we expected them to play. That loss of Furious seems to have woken them up, seems to have enraged them. And keep in mind what Long's nickname is in China as well. The Son of the Dragon is awake here today.
You are so proud of knowing that.
That's like literally the one fun fact I know about the guy, so of course I'm gonna run with it.
You said it twice. You said it in the series.
No, but it's such a cool thing because in
What does it sound like in Chinese, in Mandarin?
I said it before. You clearly weren't listening.
Give it to me again.
龙之子. I hope I'm not saying that wrong, but that basically means son of the dragon. And that's so cool as well because it's a very big imagery thing too.
Right. I'm with you.
Without being too much of a nerd, that's about it.
No, I like it. Flash Wolves benefiting
Oh my god.
from a little bit of mid lane pressure. The range that Bruce can now poke at.
And that's what I love about Bruce, right? That's why he's such a pivotal point of the Flash Wolves. He's not afraid to go aggressive. He's not afraid to play up in your face because he knows his limits. He's such a veteran player, has been around top LMS teams for years now, and he would not throw the lead away.
And he benefited from that incredibly good bottom lane that they played.
Yeah.
That's why Remake and Yami aren't big factors. Nova relying entirely on the top side of their map. Yiza and Long, the carries for Nova in this game. One of them's called out now down bottom.
That's good.
Goes in. Ooh, nice Dawning Shadow across the map. Long fighting in the backlines while Bayer dives into Yiza. Long now caught out by Bruce, poking away. Yiza all alone, half HP as Bruce manages to chip away with the final chapter. They'll find the first kill. That's over to Bruce. More gold in the pocket of Flash Wolves' carry.
That started out a little bit iffy there. Cookie and Baya invested so many resources onto Iza, who did a fantastic job at mitigating damage taken with the Hextech ultimatum, with the hook shot to just be slippery. But at the end of the day, they rotated their members down first, and because of that, Flashwolves numbers advantage, they take a kill. That's all they get, a kill. But 10 seconds, 5 seconds to the Rift Herald, we're expecting to see a big 5v5 here.
And it's a ton of very important gold for Bruce.
It is a ton of very important gold from Bruce. Unfortunately, he won't be able to complete an item with that in time, but that's still so important. We see how this guy plays.
Rift Herald online here. Nova beginning to position for it.
Nova a little bit late to this one. Frankly, I don't like their chances, but look, Eason doesn't have his out right now. Cookie doesn't have his out right now, so they need to stall this a little bit on side of Flashwolves.
Cyclone back online for Cookie now.
Look at Yeeza's position.
All the way in, Yeeza starts the fight. Ysera pinned down in the back line. It's Bruce kiting away and staying alive. Yami, very low in the front line, has to flash away. Yeeza over the wall, is Daunting Shadow, buys him space.
Oh,
Final
no!
chapter, completely wasted. And Flashwolves don't complete any of the kills.
TJ, that was seconds away from being a 1-5 for the Flashwolves. Yumi ultimate, 2 seconds away. They didn't have it. Can you see that entire team fight changing? If he sliced that through the team of Nova, unfortunately wasn't up in time, and that's why we say seconds make all the difference here.
That's what I'm always saying.
Fortunately for Flashwolves, you do have 2 items completed on Bruce. That's gonna be your #1 win condition right now, because if you look at Long, if you look at Iza, it's starting to look scary. They're scaling extremely fast here. Baya's doing no damage.
And I will point out as well, Long got the Rift Herald in the middle of that
Yes.
fight. So they're going to have that tool to open up this Drake.
And you know what the WRL is going to do? Exactly that. We pop the Rift Herald in the mid. We don't care about the outcome of it because that secures us the Dragon. Because of the game state, Nova can just muscle their way up the mid lane with the Rift Herald. But the important goal is the Dragon.
Ysera called out. Bruce caught by the Hextech ultimatum. Yeeza in. Bruce survives. The turret does fall to the Rift Herald,
But
and
the
Yeeza is
Dragon-
finally blown up. The Dragon in the meantime getting burned down. Down a player. Nova will be able to secure the Dragon. Can they get away with it? Is Cookie and Bruce pushed forward? The answer is yes. The Shroud getting them out.
They might want more. Flashwolves are so low.
Flashwolves are low. They're rooted as well, grounded as well. But Nova don't see a window.
And you look at the map right now, you look at the top wave that was set up in advance by Nova, you look at the mid turret getting taken down by the Rift Herald, you might say, yeah, he's kind of ran it down. And you're right, he did kind of run it down. But think about what that got for his team there. They got the Dragon, they got the creep waves, they got the mid turret, and he was so close to killing Bruce as well.
And
So
he
you can't really
also,
fault him.
regardless of what happens, pins Bruce down.
Yes.
It almost doesn't matter if he gets the kill because Bruce is not available to contest the Dragon.
Exactly, and you know Bruce likes to play aggressive. You know Bruce wants to be up in your face. Well, you can't do that when you're half health, right? And this is one of my critiques about Bruce this game. He's been playing fantastically, credits to him. But his package timings have been kind of odd. He isn't headed in any important fight.
Got thrown off by that weird kill on the top side.
Yeah,
I genuinely
honestly.
think.
It really just snowballed from that. Dive comes in.
From Cookie, Cyclone under. That should be 1 kill. Neon very low, taken out by the death mark. Can Cookie get away? Doesn't look like it under the tower. He's slid away with the clone. Tower does fall. In the front line, it's all on this Garen, stalling out Ysera, half HP as Yeeza flashes forward. It's Long,
Oh, it's
complete
big.
the kill. Bruce, caught in Hextech ultimatum. Daunting Shadow as well. Flashwolves in trouble. Cookie flashes away. Bruce pinned down. Valkyrie's forward, through the hunting fruit. He's
can't
gone!
die!
And that's a massive pickup. Bruce gone, and Flashwolves' hopes with him.
Nova, do not take any damage, CJ.
Baya now in huge trouble.
He went back!
Back in! Shadow shifts onto Long. Strands Yeeson in
That's
the
Baron,
middle of
Baron's
the
up,
team.
DJ!
They're gonna get the Baron.
Everything works out here for Nova. Baya got too greedy. He wanted to check the jungle. Because of that mistake, he kills himself. He kills Eason. He gives Baron to Nova. And at the end of the day, it's not really his fault as well.
And that'll be your Coca-Cola pop-up play.
And you look at Nova's health bar right now. Look at how they invested every single resource to kill Nian. Good, that's a good start here, right? But you look at how the team fight plays out. You use so many spells. You chunk out the members of Nova. They're getting low. Look at how low Long is. But Senna, Nasus. Why do we say this is a strong combo? The best stat check in the game. When you death ball, when you 5v5, when you run up the healing, the shielding, you take no damage.
And it was kind of staggered. Baya had to team kill his ally, but it did eventually turn into a Prime Gaming ace
Yes.
for Nova as they
Look at
absolutely
this.
cleaned house. This is literally a team kill.
You might.
He just takes him right in.
Eason shouldn't have helped him. Eason should have just let him
I
die.
don't think he knew Eason hopped on because it was like right as he shadow shifted.
And honestly, Eason shouldn't have helped on as well. There's no way he could have done.
No.
Nothing he could have done to help him really.
Ysera kind of roaming down as the push comes through the bottom lane here.
Yeah.
You having to kite back, Ysera getting poked out up top.
And that's the thing, right? Poke from the Yuumi, poke from the Koki. It's not going to be effective against the healing here.
Iza caught out by the Cyclone, slips away. Dawning Shadow giving him the shield.
Ysera did an ulti,
Yeah.
right? And that made all the difference. Ysera did an ulti, and they're getting torn up on the map.
Ysera forward, long proccing the counter-strike. That's scary enough. He just gets the turret.
This is just domination from Nova. 10,000 gold lead here against the Flash Wolves. This is a completely different Nova than the Nova we saw against Furious Gaming, TJ.
Well, it's a completely different Nova than the Game 2 Nova we saw against Furious
sure.
Gaming. Shades of the Game 3 Nova present here as they've cleaned up their act.
They definitely have. And honestly, Flash Wolves, they made not many mistakes. If you really
No.
think about it, how many mistakes did they make this game? Several small mistakes. A couple of small
I
mistakes.
think it was Bruce getting caught out in the top side.
It was Eason and then Bruce, right? And you see how Nova just snowballed it. You overstep one time, we punish you, the timings are off, and we immediately tempo the game from there. Nova just, I do want to point out a tiny little thing as well. Iza did buy Redemption to help his team. Why is that? Garen always buys Redemption. I think his rationale is if I'm in the side lane, at least I can give you guys a Redemption as well.
This is peak Leonard. I can tell you're having a good time because you're interrupting yourself.
I love what's going on in this game. We're finally seeing two good teams play.
Oh!
It's true though.
Ysera having to zone back as Nova Esports are deploying their strength as a good team, cleaning out the jungle, buying space, making sure Flash Wolves can't access any of their own gold farm, and critically keeping them away from this upcoming Elder Dragon.
Well, they're very far away from this Elder Dragon right now, TJ. I don't believe Bruce has the package.
Cookie doesn't.
They're just gonna give
Cookie
this one
walks
up.
up and steals it.
Wait, Bruce has TP. This is so Flash Wolves. We're giving our Dragon Laner everything on the map. Our Dragon Laner buys TP so he can split push, so he can get bomb and come to the objective. What a world we live in.
Bruce actually rotating down, and this could be dangerous. He's split on the opposite side of Nova.
Ysera's dead.
Ysera gets caught
He
out.
can't move.
Absolutely dead. And I don't know if that might have been a technical issue.
Oh,
He stopped moving before the
no.
root came through.
Yeah. Well, that would be heartbreaking. We'll have to,
That would be
we'll have to see
heartbreaking.
what happens there. Honestly, though, despite that, I still think he was dead because his positioning was just so off.
When that happens to me, it's because I've just dropped the phone.
Because of rage or because of tilt?
But usually I'm just clumsy.
Okay, that happens.
Sometimes people jump on me and I like startle a bit. A Camille comes out of a bush and I'm like, ah! I like just drop the phone.
I believe that. I 100% believe that's something that you would do.
So far, though, good performance from Nova.
Very
and
good.
I want to just get the vibe check from you, Leonard. Is this above or below your expectations for Nova coming out of that upset yesterday?
This is about right. This is about the form we expected to see from Nova in the entire Icons Global Championship. This is the kind of
Right.
gameplay we expected to see from them. Aggressive, decisive, playing around your jungler.
So your faith wasn't shaken by the upset from Furious Gaming?
Honestly, no. I didn't really think there was a chance they would lose the series. I honestly didn't even think they would lose game 2. But that is a testament to how good Furious Gaming played.
Right. Furious Gaming earned the win, but Nova definitely gave them the opportunity.
Well, I wouldn't say that, right? The
Oh.
Baron steal from Nova yesterday, that was basically the moment where Chinese teams come back into games they should
Right.
have no business winning. But the fact that Furious Gaming still managed to win from that game point is a testament to how good Furious Gaming are more than anything else.
So Nova performing about as you expect on the opposite side. It's your home region. The WCS providing Flash Wolves. And the Flash Wolves,
Yeah.
as you were talking about, looked pretty good. They won that
Yes.
bottom lane. They're a team that likes to win through Bruce wherever he's playing on the map. And he got the gold. So what went wrong? Why did we have those staggered kills across the map? Is that just Nova things, or is that some mistakes from Flash Wolves?
Two things. I think it's the little mistakes that cost them at the end of the day, right? We talked about how impactful the top lane kills onto the Yuumi, onto the Koki were. I love that.
that's-
He's just chilling.
That's also how I play Wild Rift at home.
When it's paused, you don't pause in
My
solo queue.
games don't pause at
Yeah.
home, but when I die, I look like that.
Perfect.
The grey screen, you put the phone
I
down,
imagine
you
you
lie
would be
back
looking
that.
like that a lot.
Yeah, look, it's bad for my neck.
I want to talk about the Flash Wolves a little bit, right?
Right.
This is a team which anyone who watches the WCS knows that I don't have much faith in. And there's a reason for that. They're a very stable team. They don't make many mistakes. But they don't...
He was vertical for a moment. Oh, he's vertical
He's
again.
back up! He's ready to go. But the Flash Wolves are a team which are not gonna pull off any miracles. They are a very stable team. They perform about how you would expect them to perform, which is their performance this game. There were good points, there were good moments, there were good team fights. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. They didn't have the X factor to really just pull out a couple of those team fights, and that's where it cost them at the end.
And we did talk about this at the very beginning of the game. We said Nova Esports had drafted for the playstyle they like.
Yeah.
Very much, we can win the 3v3 skirmishes, we can pressure the side lanes, we will scale into the late game
Fall
and be
protect
very
one.
difficult to beat there. Flash Wolves on the opposite side did have the 5v5 fight, did not manage to force it in this game. The first time we saw the 5v5 was the one over the Rift Herald where nobody died.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to how well Nova have done in avoiding exactly what Flash Wolves want to give them.
And that's also a problem with Flash Wolves' timing this game, which was all messed up. Their timings. I know I sound like a broken racket right now, but this is how top teams are going to play. If you make a
Sound
mistake...
like a drumming coach. Timing! Get the timing right.
Whiplash moment for me, but...
Sure, J.K. Simmons.
This is exactly how top teams are going to play. If you ever botch your tempo, you know they're going to capitalize on it. You know they can drive that home to a win. And Nova, man, what a performance from them. What a wake-up call here for them, right? The loss against Furious yesterday. They look refreshed. They look energized. And frankly, TJ, they look so scary.
And there's a conversation we've been having. We had it off camera before this game began about Long. I think he's the best jungler in China. And
Okay.
you were telling me that the Chinese broadcasters have also expressed that on air.
Well, he's got the most MVPs in the regular season, right? It really comes down to, is it Long or is it 0711? These two guys are making a serious case for themselves. And if you look at how the Chinese region plays as a whole as well, around their jungler, being the best jungler means something.
Right. So I wanted to take that. China, obviously a region that plays very often to their jungler. You'll see their junglers pick up things like Jax and be scaled too. On the opposite side, let's draw this picture a little bit wider. Let's bring this frame out to icons. There's a whole lot of junglers here. Do you think, first of all, Long is the best jungler here? Second of all, do you think being the best jungler in China, do you think it's between him and the other Chinese
You're really
junglers
putting me on
for
the
being
spot
the best?
right now.
Yeah.
I think
We're,
that Long...
we're stalling, so you're going to get put on the spot. Those are the rules.
Oh, man. Okay. I think that it's really between Long and 0711. I can't make a choice yet until we see how FPX's
Until
form
groups.
looks right now.
Yeah.
But I think there are several junglers that are very close as well. I want to point out specifically Zissou from Team Flash. And that's really about it. Well, maybe Chaz. Let's see how Chaz does today.
All right,
against Jin
RRQ
Dong.
fans, you got to farm the Twitter followers. Make sure that the RRQ
Hey,
fans are
I
with
got
you.
an RRQ jersey coming in as well. I can't afford to lose that one.
I was so upset with you when you revealed that you had the BRU jersey.
And that shows that you clearly didn't watch WCS Finals because I was wearing it for every BRU game.
And then I was thinking about it, and the RRQ jersey, we used that in a thumbnail that I made.
Well, that one wasn't mine. That one I borrowed it from someone.
So you didn't get to keep it.
No, but I got a new one.
Oh, okay. But it's okay. I've figured out how to balance it all out. I'm going to get a Flash Wolves hoodie. Because we were talking about the jerseys, and the tier list of the jerseys.
Yes.
The absolute pinnacle of esports on-stage wear, the hoodies, the jackets. Because all these studios are air-conditioned.
Yes.
As you can tell by the fact that we're both wearing jackets in Singapore, all these studios are, pretty cold.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be in athleisure. You don't want to be in sportswear.
Speak for yourself.
Okay. Omo wants to be in athleisure.
I'm sweating right now. No, I'm not. But I'm about
That's
to.
too much information. But the Flash Wolves players are sitting there wearing the hoodies, feeling comfortable.
Okay, TJ.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
I can speak Mandarin to them and ask for them for a jacket. How are you gonna do it?
I'm going to ask you
Well, I'm gonna ask for myself to get a jacket
to
first.
ask them to get me a jacket.
I'm obviously gonna ask them for one for me first.
He's collecting because you want to be able to do your power rankings for
Yeah.
next year with entirely team jerseys.
Exactly.
And then
Love
you can just
that.
send a photo of your wall with all the team jerseys, and that's your power rankings.
Love that. That's my goal for the WCS next year.
Gotta collect them all. Of course, you've also got to get the teams to come back. And the big thing coming into this year was that none of the teams that went to Horizon qualified, except for, who am I missing? Rolster, Sentinels. Not Sentinels, it was Tribe.
Yes.
Rolster, who am I missing?
I'm trying to rack my brain right now, but that's a tough one. I can't even remember
There's-
what I
there's
ate
one
for
other.
lunch yesterday, TJ.
Sengoku.
Sengoku. And Roaster.
And all the other teams who were these like international representatives and Team Queso, that's the full three.
Yes.
All these other teams who were national representatives didn't make it 2 years in a row.
And that shows how competitive it is.
Well, that was especially the
but
point
here we
in
go.
China, I think, where we saw all these Chinese teams just get blown out. Nova Esports look a million times better than our representatives last year. And as we get into game again, they have a chance to prove why. Iza looking for the opportunity. Stasis cancels it, belongs right here. I don't know if that saves you. Oh, that gets him out.
Cookie's
Burning down.
dead.
Cookie's dead. A huge ult for the Dawning Shadow. Neon traded out. Ysera follows suit. Bruce kiting away. Valkyrie to try and build distance as Yami chases him down.
Nessus!
Bruce is going to get shut down, and that'll be it. We load back into the game. Nova win a massive team fight, and they should be able to take inhibs here.
What an introduction to Senna Nessus for the regions that haven't seen it yet. Of course, it's played a ton in the WCS, it's played a ton in the WRL, but for all of you at home seeing this combo for the first time, how ridiculous is that? The Nessus runs in front, takes no damage, heals, shields, pokes, slows. It's just incredibly annoying to play against.
You get to this late game, those auto attacks hurt.
That too.
Engage onto Yami, doesn't do anything. There
That's
goes
it.
the turret.
That might be it, TJ.
Yeah, I think it is. Bayer all alone, 2 seconds on respawns. He clears the wave. Bayer goes in. Did he get all the minions? He did! Leonard, he killed all the minions.
He saved the game, but TJ, frankly, I'm not that excited for this. It just stalls out your execution.
It was
day.
a
That's all
heroic play.
It says a lot about a game state when that's the heroic play, doesn't it? Let's take a look at the replay here, TJ.
Oh, this is of the team fight. You can check out exactly how big the Nasus is in the front
I'm
line.
just curious how Cookie just died.
Yeah,
What
I
did
don't
he
know what
die
that
to?
was. I think it was Nasus autos. That's my theory.
But the thing is, no one autoed him, so I think it really must just be the Senna. Like, he was out of range. It's
Dawning
probably just
Shadow
the Senna.
does a lot in the late game.
Yeah, we know the Senna has been scaling up all game. Remake has been getting souls like nobody's business right now.
Yeah. Collecting them like you're giving me Singaporean snacks.
I haven't given you any, right?
That's true.
You gotta have to hit
like,
Grandin up
like
for that
you
one.
should be giving me Singaporean snacks.
You gotta hit Grandin up for that one. Well, Nova, Baron in the back. 2 lanes to push at this point. Mid is open. Camille side laning, Jax grouping. You can really just run it down. And that's the power of the Senna Nessus as well. It enables your bruisers to take these 5v5s, to take these team fights. What can Flash Wolves do here?
Oh no, Bayer rooted, instantly cancels the
There we go.
synchronized engage, and Long just goes in underneath the
Wow.
turret. Long just autoing people, and that should be the game. Nova Esports look impeccable in game number 1 of their series versus Flash Wolves.
I love how Camille's still attached to the wall at the end there. It was just the small things in the early game, in the mid game, that broke that one open for Nova. But like, if you give them an inch, you know they're gonna take a bow here. Nova Esports, they truly do look impeccable.
1 or 2 mistakes is all Flash Wolves made. Both
And they
of them.
weren't even glaring mistakes.
No.
They were small timing errors.
It was, oh, I don't have my package now for this fight, and
Yes.
that loses you everything.
Yeah,
They
it wasn't
weren't-
like I got caught and died. It's just I wasted a spell. That's it. That's all we need.
Then you don't have that spell for your team fight, you don't have that spell when you need it to turn the game, and you don't win game number 1 versus Nova Esports.
And what a game that was there from Nova Esports. I think that Nova look impeccable. The WRL look a lot better. I told you guys yesterday that I was gonna enjoy the WCS 6-0 because it had to come to an end. And I do believe now that makes the WCS 6-1 in individual matches.
You're right, this is the first game loss. Now here's the question. Will you go on record? The camera's right there, all the WCS fans are watching. Will you go on record and predict that they're going to lose this series from here?
Oh yeah, if you look at my twitter.com/omo2_2, you would say that. You would see
Well, yes,
that.
but nobody goes to your Twitter,
Yes,
so
I
I
know
wanted
that.
to make sure that it was on record where people were watching, where people were paying attention.
I think Flash Wolves are going to go down 0-2, frankly, if you ask me. And that's not
And
a diss against them, because they honestly did not play a bad game. Nova just looks so good.
And that game doesn't change your opinion, because I frankly feel better about Flash Wolves after
Really?
that game. I
They
think
got
Flash Wolves,
rolled.
they're slowly. If it's like little things, like if they manage to force that team fight in the mid game, if they manage to activate their composition in the way I think they want to, I believe.
Okay, well, we'll have to see if that happens in the next game, because frankly, I don't have high hopes of Flash Wolves. If you think about how they could beat Nova, it would be through early timing plays. Once you get late, you're not going to win. And Flash Wolves are not a team that does that, frankly.
Well, we've got 3 more people with thoughts about that game, so we'll pass it over to Mika in the lobby with our post-game analysis.
Oh, Mo! You're not supposed to give up. No, you're supposed to join me here in Copium right now. Oh my gosh, you gave up so easily. Oh, Rico better join me here. Rico's gonna join me.
I mean,
can
we're all
always-
like that at the moment. You know, we've all predicted Flash Wolves, and then Nova just came out
You look
completely
a little frightened of
stormy.
me right now. Squidward.
I'm scared. It's like, oh no, it's okay. It's
He's
fine.
like, okay, I'll be part of this team.
Yeah, so the question is, how did Nova do
Oh,
that, right?
God.
And the answer is honestly simple. It's the objectives. Both teams are great at objectives, but Nova showed their superiority. Like, they constantly set up the objectives so incredibly well. They caught out, Nova constantly caught out the enemy with the objectives. Like, they remember when they caught the Yumi right there? Like, with the Camille ultimate? That was just that shouldn't have happened. But Nova did it every single time.
Yeah.
It's ironic that you bring that up because you mentioned that Objectives was a Flash Wolves game. And, Stuart, you mentioned from the very beginning,
Yep.
you saw this happening. You saw this happening straight from the draft.
Yeah, you can see the draft below, like right here. Nova came in with a game plan. Shut down Bruce, ban out his champions, make sure that you gank Bruce as well. He got put back on the Corki, which is not something that he wants to play. He wants to play the hyper carries like the Zaya, like the Kai'Sa, but they all just got banned away. That's the problem, and that was Nova's game plan. They gave Yumi as a first pick. They took the Senna, and their team comp, Nova's team comp, is all about the late game. You know, Nasa's Senna. You got the Jax, you got the Camille, you got the Singed as well. All this late game team comp and all these beefy frontline champions. Bruce just couldn't burst through any of them.
So a particular moment of the game that I do want to talk about is around the 10-minute mark where the second Rift Herald spawned, and Flash Wolves honestly made a major mistake right there, right? Like, yet again, the objective plays, Nova was starting out the Rift Herald, and here, as you can see, the mid lane turret is super low for Nova. Why is Flash Wolves not taking it? You can see Flash Wolves is taking a losing fight right here, while they could have just taken the mid lane turret right here. And throughout this game, this was a major mistake because they weren't able to get that one mid lane turret. We know how important the first mid lane turret is right here. Like, you can see, right, they're just forcing a fight. They're chasing down, but they didn't get that mid lane turret. And even after this, they didn't get it at the end. So they just lost everything. They didn't get any objectives right there.
Yeah, it was high risk, high reward, and they ended up getting nothing.
Nothing.
And
Yep.
Stuart, what about you? What win conditions could you have seen for Flash Wolves at that point? Was it at that same point?
Yeah, it's really, really hard for Flash Wolves because when you're going up against a team comp like that, I think Nova probably drafted, I would say, one of the best team comps I think we've ever seen in play-ins at the moment. Just, you know, all the power picks that they got as well, the Senna, the Singed, the Camille as well, all these power picks, all this lockdown as well. You can see that Long on this Jax, you know, that is why he is the MVP of China. He was absolutely huge.
I've talked a lot about Cookie as well, and let's be honest right there, Long, he was 7k ahead at the end. If you didn't see it already, 7,000 gold. 7,000. So he didn't have 7,000 gold, he was 7,000 gold. That's nearly double the amount of gold that Cookie had. So he's been a major factor for Nova to win this game, and I'm sure he'll show in the next game what he's made of as well.
And as we saw, you know, Flash Wolves right now, they lost very, very early on. When it came down to their specific win conditions, they couldn't execute that as well. And as Stuart, you mentioned, they did shut down Bruce. I'm wondering what we could possibly see in Game 2, what workarounds they can bring out for this if they do that again.
It's a tough one because I think if you're on the Flash Wolves at the moment, you need to try and find a secondary carry. Maybe get like Cookie on more of a carry champion.
Yeah.
I think you can't really focus too much on Bruce because they know that Nova now are just going to ban you out every single time. So they need to try and find an alternative. They need to try and find a plan B to try and make sure that maybe Bruce is still on that main carry, but they have a secondary carry behind him just in case that doesn't work out.
And Cookie can do that. We've seen him on the Jinx and the Jax, not Jinx, Jax and the Riven.
Jinx jungle?
These are two carry champions in the jungle, you know, that skill into the late game. However, is Long gonna allow that? Because Long could just come up with the Lee Sin and absolutely demolish him. I feel it's a bit scary when you're in Cookie's shoes right now, when you just got demolished in the jungle, to go for those later game carry junglers. But we're gonna have to see what what Flash Wolves decides to do.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier in the pre-show, Flash Wolves did mention that Nova could be their next big rival here at Icons and that they were doing special homework on them. But it looks like Nova Esports just read them like a book. They knew immediately what to do. I'm gonna be perfectly candid and objective here. I'm not feeling too confident because if they have one strategy, I'm sure they've prepared all the way from Game 2 and a potential Game 3 for this. Look at
Look
that.
at Bruce's damage. Bruce still done the most damage in the entire game, even on the losing side as well. I think it's nearly double damage of everyone else on his team as well. That's just a crazy performance. But it just shows how good Bruce is, and it just shows that, you know, if Nova carry on that game plan and if Nova carry on banning out Bruce and keep focusing Bruce, because there was a situation during the early game where Long was just down in the bot lane. He just sat in the bush for a good like 1 or 2 minutes, and that's the game plan that Nova came in, and it worked out really well for them.
They know that it's a uncomfortable spot for Flash Wolves. They know that Bruce is put in a spot where he is not, he's not on his A game. So that's where they actually pushed. And if you think about it, Nova Esports, that was just perfect homework on their side.
And it felt like this was not the Flash Wolves we knew. We didn't see many rotations come through from them. Like, they were just constantly sitting in lane, right? Like, Eason wasn't roaming around. Bruce was, like, they just weren't comfortable. It didn't feel like a comfortable game for them. And it honestly feels like Nova was just applying all of their pressure to it. Nova knew that Flash Wolves loves to roam around. And that's why they were just constantly sitting on Bruce right there. Very, very beautifully played by Nova, but it can also be a weakness since it's a bit one-dimensional, right? Like, as Flash Wolves, you can expect Long to be there again, right? Like, you can expect him to be in the Dragon Lane all the time. So they could come up with some counter-measurements.
And they beat them at their own game. You mentioned earlier that Flash Wolves, they do play very well in objectives. What are you going to do when Nova Esports gets there first, It's gonna be tough, and I do hope, of course, back on the SEA Copium, by the way, Flash Wolves, they do have a chance to recover in game 2, so I'm gonna be really interested to see what they can come up with. But Stuart, you mentioned earlier that they might need to find somebody else to help this team, really push them towards victory. I'm wondering if Bruce is not that win condition, who else do you think should step up to the plate?
I think Cookie has to step up. I think Ysera has to step up as well. These are two players. Ysera didn't have the best performance yesterday against Lonely Kid. The first game was a little bit off. The second game was really good, though, on Darius and Cookie as well, like Kelsa said. We've seen Cookie perform really well before on these hyper carries, so I really want to see Cookie, play really well and just get, make sure that he's on a carry that he feels comfortable with. I think that's the main thing as well.
I think Flash Wolves just needs to step up their macro game. They made so many macro mistakes during the objectives, getting caught out before the objective, not making the right decision during the objectives, not doing the right rotations. This is the one thing that they're known of, right? Like, having the mid laner, having the support roam around all the time, ganking Ysera, ganking them all the time. But we didn't see those ganks this game. They were just kind of waiting for this game to go through, up against that late game composition of Nova Gaming. And of course, they lost it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how I know Flash Wolves. They are this team that actually, much like Wolves themselves, they do like to roam in these packs, and you will find them in the most unexpected places. They do like to pick off, basically when you're alone, then you better watch out because the Wolves are out to get you. However, Nova Esports, it seems like the WRL regions are always just one step ahead. And right now, as we head into Champ Select for Game 2, we are seeing right now it's all up to Flash Wolves. We can see they are thinking so hard.
And I love the Lee Sin ban right there. This is what I talked about, right? Like, Cookie wants to play those scaling junglers, be the secondary carry. This is the one jungler that can counter it out. Basically, Lee Sin and Pantheon, although Pantheon is just not quite as strong right now. So you ban out the Lee Sin, and a potential Jax or a Riven is probably... Oh, they banned Jax themselves. So interesting to see that they actually decide to ban the Jax themselves. Obviously, Long did an amazing job on that Jax in the recent game.
They don't want it happening again.
Definitely.
Stuart, so you think that now they are targeting Long over here. What do you think is the response for Nova Esports?
I think for Nova, they're just going to ban out the same chat. This is the same bans for Nova for now. They banned out the Xayah as the third pick, and then they baited the Yuumi to go into the first pick. They didn't ban... Did they miss a ban? I have to see if that's actually confirmed or not. But it looks like they did miss a ban, unless it's a visual bug or something. But yeah, for Flash Wolves, they don't want to deal with that Jax. We saw Long last game. Yeah, when you're playing against someone, oh, there you go, it is the Xayah as well. So it is the same 3 bans for Nova. So now for Flash Wolves, do they pick up the Yuumi?
Yeah.
Maybe do they pick up the Senna for themselves now instead of the Yuumi?
That's
because
the
it worked out that Yuumi didn't really do too well, and they are going to go for the Yuumi again. But now this time, I think what Flash Wolves are going to do differently is they're going to pick their hyper carry for Bruce. It may be blue 2 and blue 3, pick 2 and pick 3, because what they did before, they didn't focus that in the first game, and what happened was the Kaiser and the Vayne got banned out by Nova in the second ban phase. So now it's going to be interesting to see if Flash Wolves actually pick a hyper carry for Bruce before the second ban phase.
I want to see an hyper carry. I don't want to see Corki again. This is a champion that we all find boring. I get it. And yeah, sure, Senna again, right? Like, Nova sticks to their strengths. They absolutely destroyed Flash Wolves with that draft, but I expect a whole different kind of draft from Flash Wolves now. Just a hyper carry, Tristana, Jinx, these types of champions. Especially now, Tristana is one of the best counters to Singed, and it's a bold prediction to predict Tristana. I would love to see it, and it also works into this draft. So is it gonna happen or is it not gonna happen? That's the real question.
Yeah, it may work, and right now actually I'm thinking, because of course Baya is coming in as a substitute here for Flash Wolves. It's a different dynamic as well, but we have seen Baya in the Southeast Asian regions really performed well on the mid lane as well. I'm waiting for his moment actually here. I'm hoping
That's
that
a
it's
Corki
here
again.
in game 2. Stuart, so far we have the Corki once again, and I know that, I mean, like, a lot of people have been saying, please stop with the Corki and everything. It's not exciting, but you know, it is still a strong pick for Flash Wolves.
The thing is, though, is that this Corki can still go into the mid lane, but what Nova did really well last game, this is pretty much the same draft as what we saw in the first game, is that Nova actually forced Flash Wolves to play Corki in the bot lane, because in the second ban phase, they banned out the Kaiser and the Kaiser and the Vayne, which means that Bruce has to go to that Corki. But now they just pick up Wukong again, which is not really a hyper carry that we really want to see on Cookie, and Nova are just picking the same champions again.
No, but you can't do this as Flash Wolves, because even though you ban out the Jax, there's so many other champions that Nova could pick up to still make it work with the composition. Like right here, Flash Wolves, you're doing the exact same thing, what just completely lost you the game. And there it is, just as Stuart said, right? Like Nova's gonna ban out those hyper carries. So potentially we could see the Corki in the mid lane, but Nova bans out that Vayne right now, which is the one champion that can destroy champions like the Singed and the Nasus.
Yeah, especially the big tanks that Nova picked from the last game as well. You know, Nasus, Singed, Jax, you know, all these champions that you just want to break through. But the problem is that if you don't have a hyper carry, it's really hard to break through them.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. And right now we're seeing Nova Esports.
Same
they are
bans.
doing the same thing, but I'm really curious as to what the response will be now that the Jax is banned out. What does Long have up his sleeve right now? Potentially Hells? What do you think?
It's funny because they're banning away a lot of Long's champions. You can see the Lee Sin ban, the Jax. Oh, pretty much all 5 bans are probably targeted towards Long, but I'm sure Long is going to come out with a different champion. You know, whether it's the Riven, whether it's the, like, we're going to see a lot. There's actually not a lot of jungle champs, as I can see. You know, even Olaf is banned. So it's going to be interesting to see what Nova actually decides to pick for that jungle right now, because this is really testing the jungle. There it is. That's the Riven that I was talking about. So indeed, like it doesn't matter what you ban out. Riven works perfectly with this composition that Nova has.
Do you think this is going to Nova? Right now, earlier you called it out right away, straight from the draft. You were like, oh my gosh, I don't like where this is going. I think we're gonna draw on our faces really early. It's of course just the first series of the day, so we can't say for sure. But right now, Stuart, I can actually tell it in your face. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what Flash Wolves can really pick here. There's Ysera's Darius, which he did perform really well on the second game yesterday against Game Lord. So that's something as like a secondary carry, not really a main carry. They're more of a secondary carry. The last pick now, we're going to have to see if this Corki is going to go in the mid lane or the bot lane. Maybe they pick out another hyper carry that hasn't been banned, or are they going to move this Corki back to the bot lane again? They did pick the Zed last time. It's going to be Karma. So this is just even more shields for Bruce. This is going to be Karma mid lane. Yumin is a support role. Just give everything over to Bruce. All the shields, all the heals that he needs. But again, you're against a draft, you know, like a Nasus, a Singed, a Senna. These are champions that are just really hard to deal with. Like, if you had a Vayne, if you had maybe a Kai'Sa or a Xayah, you might have done well as like a hyper carry but with Corki, even though he does shred armor with his third ability, which can help him a little bit.
Echo!
Oh, the Echo!
All right, I love that one. Echo, that's an exciting.
Oh, is that Echo jungle actually? I think it's Echo jungle for Long. So for those who don't know, Echo is a relatively new champion that came out. When he first came out, it was kind of a little bit underwhelming. That he did receive quite a lot of buffs. His first ability now does more damage to jungle monsters. His second ability now does more missing health damage. And his jungle clear now is insanely fast. You can clear the jungle really fast. And Echo scales really well into late game. So as long as you farm up in the early game, it's another late game champion that Long can carry on.
I mean, look at that composition from Nova right there. Late game, it's just game over. It doesn't matter that you have a Karma. It doesn't matter that you have a Yuumi. None of that matters. If this game reaches the late game, and if Nova gets a few objectives as well, it's game over, Mika.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm really nervous over here, but we will see how a game 2 goes. Omo, I am calling you out right here before I toss it over to you and TJ. You gotta help me out here, man. Don't let me down as we head into game number 2 of Flash Wolves and Nova Esports.
Mika, I hear you loud and clear, and I have one thing to say in response. After looking at the drafts, Nova 2-0.
Wow. Mika, if you need like room service later, I'll spark you. I get it. I'm a Sentinels fan, I get it.
Yeah, I mean...
Leonard dancing on the grave of his region. as Flash Wolves get into game number
here we
2.
go.
And we are right into it. Nova immediately trying to hold the back line of this fight as Bruce just chews away at the front line. First kill goes over to Eason as they continue to press forward. And it's a 1-0 first blood to Flash Wolves. Take it back, Leonard.
I was just kidding. Nova is gonna go to game 3 now. No, jokes aside, I genuinely have no faith. Once again,
Oh my God.
Nova have better scaling. The Senna Nessus Flash Wolf said that we had no answer to it last game. They don't have an answer to it this game as well. The draft might be marginally better, but at the end of the day, I really like what Nova are running.
But let's talk about the dream for Flash Wolves. If they can
Okay.
find a 5v5 team fight in the mid game, force what they lacked last game, then they can knock Nova off of that scaling and maybe do enough damage that they win through the mid game.
Exactly. Finding the 5v5 team fights, it's once again the name of the game for both of these teams here. But if you look at how Flash Wolves team comp wants to approach a 5v5, and you look at how Nova's team comp wants to approach a 5v5, they want to do very different things. Both teams want a 5v5, that's for sure, but Flash Wolves want to front to back. They want to walk at you with the AoE, shielding, healing, whereas Nova, Riven's gonna come from an angle, Singe is gonna run at you, and Echo is gonna come from another angle. It really threatens your backline, makes it so hard for Flash Wolves to play.
Yeah, very scary, certainly.
Oh well,
Over
this
on
is
the-
happening again.
Yeah, this is what happened. This is what gave Bruce such a lead last game. Remake and Yami even sitting in exactly the same bush they kind of sulked in last time. Oh look, here's Neon running down. Do we have last game
Deja
up?
vu. The difference this time is Long is in the Baron lane instead of in the mid lane. That's it. And this is great because
they don't-
Sarah has no sums from the
Yeah.
level 1 fight.
Long's not here.
But I think you're happy with this
Yeah,
because
Flash Wolves take this trade.
Jenny Winley, it's a good trade.
Oh, triple root. Remake, 1 HP, can't step forward into it. The damage from Bruce is so good.
Oh, Sarah gets caught.
Caught out, step too far forward. Should have just stayed away. Should have just
He's good,
let them
he's fine.
take that turret back under the turret. He will survive.
He has barrier. I think he can outplay
He's
this.
back in. Ysera sitting on that barrier, stalling out, pumps barrier. It doesn't keep him
No!
alive. Ysera able to get out from behind the turret.
No, it was so close if he got that off.
They're keeping this turret up in order to make sure that
Yes,
the
this is
maximum number
great.
of minions die. Bruce denying as much gold as possible before he gets the first turret break. So, Nova accomplished their goals top lane, Flash Wolves, theirs in the bottom lane.
They did two things there for Bruce. Number one, exactly like you said, TJ, great point there. You deny as many creeps from the center Nasus as possible. But number two, what else did they accomplish there? Did you notice that everybody base, you have 4 members of Flash Wolves down in the Dragon Lane. Everybody went home. Captain Bruce, lead the charge. We're gonna give you solo gold on everything, solo EXP on everything. It's truly the Bruce show.
Shame about Ysera though. That could have been perfect for Flash Wolves.
It was so close. Genuinely, if he got that decimate off, he would have lived there. He might have traded kills.
I mean, it is just a great example of times when you're playing top lane and your job is just to lose. And if he had just accepted that
Yes.
that turret was going to take some hits,
It comes down to losing with grace, right? And he definitely tried his best there. Got a bit impatient at the end. Please don't give me deja
back
vu
in.
of last game.
Bruce caught out but doing damage. Final chapter slows down Remake and Yiza, who will step forward. Bruce, very low on HP, but has the honey fruit.
So much health being traded back and forth there. Luckily for both of these teams, package not up yet. It's so early in the game when we're seeing the swap. But that's perfect for Flash Wolves because now you let Bruce tempo the map on the other side, on another lane, and Ysera just has one thing to do. He is living his best life down there.
Right. It's very, very difficult to farm wave consistently once you kill a tower because the minions get pushed so deep. They're so far back that you're at risk if you go to
This
chase
is so
them.
good. I
Top
want to look
lane
at
is so
Ysera
good.
right now. Is he last hitting? Is he freezing the wave in Wild Rift?
I think
That's
he
a
is. He's
first.
keeping that wave very close to deny Nova all the gold from that bottom lane.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see a bit of a play here.
Bruce, good read, stays ahead of it. Cookie lurking in the bush.
And that's one of the problems with Echo, right? Parallel convergence is so difficult to land at times. You need to be ahead of the play. You need to come at an angle. You're never gonna run in head on and hit that spell. But once you get to the mid game, once you get to the late game, Echo gets an item or two. He really doesn't need to hit it. He jumps into your backline, chunks you up for half your HP, and just outs away.
Spot quiz, Leonard.
Okay.
Last game there
Don't
was
ask me the name of the spell.
last game there was a 1,000 gold lead for Bruce.
Yes.
This time round, almost a 2,000 gold lead.
Okay.
Is that enough?
For now, we'll have to see. It really comes down to the dragon fight. And now package is up, dragon is spawning, Baron is spawning.
And
I think
it's
if
an
Flash Wolves
infernal
don't
drink.
mess up here.
This is an
could
infernal
be
drink.
big. but we see priority towards the Rift Herald again.
Wow.
That's aggressive, Ignite.
Very aggressive Ignite.
Bruce, man.
Just shredding Remake. Infernal Drake will be started by Nova Esports simultaneous
need
to
to
this
see the
Rift
map.
Herald being focused. Yiza hovering in the area. Bruce knows that this Drake is being fought. He, Ysera, and East
That's
step
big.
forward.
That's
East
big.
pumps the final chapter, slowing down Nia. Dawning Shadow chips Ysera. Drake will be picked
They're
up
all dead.
successfully by Nova, but they're all low as Easton steps forward on the back of Ysera. They find a kill to Nia. Easton stranded though. Ysera dies. Bruce in huge trouble as he kites away. The rest of the team arrives. Cookie behind the transcendent embrace will step forward onto Yami. Find a kill. Flash out for Bruce. He's chased down. He's shut down. Isa finds the kill. A massive pickup. Rift Herald will take mid turret, but the damage has been done.
30 HP mid turret here, and the gold lead is back to even. TJ, yet again, Flash Wolves mess up in the clutch. Bruce, Valkyrie, the wrong way. His package did nothing that team fight.
What a disaster for Flash Wolves.
What a disaster indeed. Look at Bruce right now. Good job from Ysera. Good job from Easton. And the man that you never expect to mess up, the man that you expect to always be clutch, he just flies the wrong way. If he flew in, if he backed up Ysera, that could have changed the entire fight.
I almost wonder if it was a miss-sync and Ysera wasn't supposed to step forward. That was a defensive call to fight defensively.
Maybe, but I think they win that. I genuinely think they do.
They could have made either decision of one. They made neither decision.
And that comes to one of my favorite quotes, right? Well, that
No
was-
quotes. No, not with me. You can do that with Grandin, not with me. No quotes on this broadcast.
Look, it's a simple one.
Okay,
When I was
fine.
coaching, this is what I would always
Oh,
use
you're
to say.
quoting yourself.
Yeah, I'm quoting
That's
myself.
all right. That's
well,
what
I'm not
you're,
quoting
you're
myself.
just saying yourself.
Okay, I
That's
don't want to
not a
say it
quote.
anymore because now that's cringe.
No, quote
I'm
yourself.
not quoting
Go on.
myself. It's something I heard, but
No,
I
it's
say
for-
a lot.
Okay.
It's better to make one play as wait, what was it? It's been a while. It's been a while. Let me think about it for a second.
You're
It's better to
quoting
make-
yourself,
It's better
Leonard.
to make one wrong play
Okay.
than to make two correct plays. Do you get what I'm saying here?
No.
As a team, if you commit to one bad play,
Okay, I do get
it's
it.
better than making two plays which are correct, but not being on the same page about it.
Can I be honest with you about something?
You disagree?
I think you are weirdly bad at quoting yourself.
I'm really bad at quoting anything.
This game going
Can I
very
just remind you that Grandin had a worse one?
True. This game going very well for Nova Esports.
Yet
As
again.
they win that fight around the Infernal Drake, get the Infernal Drake, and now break the bottom turret.
Yeah.
Is it over in game 2?
Not over just yet, right? It comes down to the next objective fight. Flash Wolves have a bit of a timer here, a bit more of a leeway here because of the earlier gold lead they had. And you might say as well, right? But Omo, there's no Jax this time. There's
I'll
no
do it.
Camille this time.
But Elmo, there's no Jax this time.
Camille. Say Camille as well.
There's no Camille this time.
Yes, TJ, that is true, but Echo does so much damage in the mid to late game as well.
Wow.
He can side lane, he can threaten your backline, and Riven does the same thing too, TJ.
Flash Wolves now trying to make some plays happen over in the top side. Cookie gets tagged instantly by the root in the center. That means Neon's looking for a play. He doesn't get it. Forced to dash away. Final chapter provides the zone. And everyone lives. Everyone walks away.
Everyone walks away. No one dies yet, but that's another big use of the cooldowns coming out from the side of Eason. I mean, it's not going to be too bad right now, but that's one of the longer cooldown ultimates. It's going to be a bit dangerous because if a play happens before the dragon spawns, he won't have it up.
Hot up. Because they're spending it immediately. It's not a cooldown anymore.
What's going on here?
Bruce caught out in the river, maybe. Long stepping forward, instead turns his attention to Baya. Baya over the wall with the flash will get to safety, but he's left his teammate behind, and that'll be an easy kill onto Cookie.
Nova, WRL teams, they're so good at doing this. The moment they see a target, they pounce on you, they just shred you. They don't care if they burn every spell to kill you, because that numbers advantage means so much more.
Flash Wolves, no loyalty, man. What was it we saw with Bruce abandoning his teammate?
Yeah.
Here now, Cookie abandoned by Baya, and Nova Esports with a lead. 2,000 and growing. Infernal Drake in their pocket. This Rift Herald up for grabs.
Half package.
Half package for Bruce. Is he caught out? He's instantly caught out.
Oh
Final
my-
chapter. He has to spend the package defensively. Rift Herald is picked up. The package is yet again wasted by Flash Wolves.
Thomas James in two
That's me.
games of cocky. Bruce has not used the package one time proactively, one time aggressively. I've been singing his praises. I've been saying this is a team
He's
that
been
plays
playing
around
well.
him. He's been playing well, sure. in everything except package usage. He's been forced time and time again to use it defensively, to use it at a bad timing, or just generally he misclicked. Well, one time he misclicked, but as a whole, that hurts Flash Wolves so much, because if you call back to Game 1 draft, what do we say about Flash Wolves team fighting? A large part of that is reliant on the package.
I'll give them one more shot, though. This game will give them one more shot.
Well, they don't have
Upcoming
package this time.
Ocean Drake. Without the package, they must win this fight in order to get back in.
They need to win it without the package, but it won't be anything different because they haven't used the package in any fight as well.
True.
Bruce is getting the poke down. Eason is getting the poke down, but the healing.
Bruce zoned out, has to kite back. Ysera trying to build space for him, can do
Bruce
so
has
for
no
now.
mana.
Bruce, no mana, can't do anything in this fight. You're absolutely right. He's looking for the honey fruit to get back in here. Rift Herald working its way down mid. The second it spots Bruce, they should just turn onto this dragon, and Nova do exactly that. Steel runs in, finds a kill. Dawning Shadow executes Ysera. The rest of the team kiting back. Bruce with the final chapter to back him up is trying to make something happen, but he's almost out of mana again as he's called out. Rooted, Long auto attacks him into stasis. Bruce is dead as soon as it ends. He flashes away, but will be shut down. And Nova have won another massive team fight.
He flips them the wrong way.
Baya in trouble. Will be able to burn down Remake. They get the kill.
I think that was the AoE proc, TJ.
The Ocean Drake's still up and they're all low. Baya.
No, Long is full HP.
Okay,
He's
Long's
good
the
to go.
only contender. Baya doesn't do anything risky.
TJ, do you remember what I just said? It's so hard to hit the parallel convergence. Well, not when you have this combo, not when you have the Singe, profile flip, into the tap, into the stun, into the root, and that's just a team fight win right away. Bruce is so low on mana. Bruce has no package to cut this fight in half. What can he do? The moment he gets rooted out here, two enchanters are the only ones left alive. If Nian didn't overflash there, that would have been a 5-0, TJ. 5-1, yes, but sure.
You see Eason just dipping.
Like, no loyalty, man.
Yeah,
But when you
loyalty
play
over a
Yuumi,
platform.
you kind of do just have to dip.
Yuumi players are
Do you remember what Baya did to him in the last game? I don't blame the guy at all.
Yeah, true.
I'm out.
True. Although he jumped to Baya.
Yes, that is true.
That's can stuff.
Well, Bruce is doing a lot of damage here, but you look at that, Ysera wasn't able to do anything. You raised this exact point, TJ. No frontline here. Darius is not a true frontline champion. He's building Proto Bells. He's building Black Cleaver. He's not that tanky. And once you get caught out, the damage from Nova just really shreds you out.
And if you're behind in a game where you have less HP frontline, it is so difficult to find fights.
It truly is, especially given the comp that Nova have. Yet again, the catch is coming in from the root, the flips, the stuns. Nothing much you can really do against that if you have to face check them.
Hey, check out that timer on the top left corner of our screen.
They can't do it this game, though. They don't have a
You
Jax,
think
they don't have a
burn
Camille.
Baron?
I don't think they can burn Baron this game. That's the upside here for Flash Wolves, right? You have to face check them, and
That's
that
an
is
upside.
so scary. But at least Nova can't burn Baron.
Long cleaning out the jungle.
This is what we talked about, right? The angle for Echo.
Looking for a parallel convergence. Won't be able to find it. Wave clear's pretty good. Ysera in with the pole. He's just dead, exhausted, flung, instantly executed. They'll try and find something. Final chapter blown, but the Dawning Shadow cancels out all the damage. Yami just eating it to the face. Cookie needing to kite away.
Issa!
And there's the dive from Issa into the backlines. Flipping Issa out of the fight. His carrier's dead. He's going to follow. It's just Baya left. Chase behind the turret. Long almost finds the kill.
TJ!
Behind the inhibitor. He's going to go back for a second swing. Baya burning,
That's game!
dead.
That's
A prime
game!
gaming ace for Nova Esports as
Look at
they look incredible. A supernova on the Rift. A 2-0 for Nova over Flash Wolves.
And Flash Wolves in game 2, gone in a flash. Nova, what a commanding performance. What
Oh,
a
no!
dominant performance. They can't end. Okay, never mind.
They can't end!
They
Leonard!
could-
They didn't project their minions!
They tried to. They died for the minion wave, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And look at Long right now, 7-0.
They're going to do Baron. They're going to rush to Baron. Look at this. Flash Wolves rushing to Baron.
Well, they're gonna try. They have to try. They have no other play here. Look at the ward there, though. If a wave gets in mid lane, Nova could TP and end.
Okay.
Nian bought TP.
Flash Wolves burning to Baron. Remake over the wall. Niam's not here for a moment, neither is Yami. Flash Wolves are going to get this fight with an advantage. Here's the TP. Yami back in the fight. Flash Wolves back
Oh,
away
he's dead.
from the Baron. His remake gets knocked low. Bruce is already in trouble, and Nabaya's pinned out in a stasis. He's gone. Cookie dead as well. Dawning Shadow finishes the fight. Bruce will be caught out. The last player alive. It's Easton in the middle of the fight. A second Prime Gaming ace goes over to Nova
Complete
Esports.
domination from Nova in this game. If yesterday's game against Furious left you with any questions, left you with any doubts, I think Nova have answered that.
Second time's the charm. Ready? It's a supernova in game 2 as Nova Esports clean it up over Flash Wolves. They'll
Well,
win
gone
the
in a
series
flash.
and advance to the groups.
Amazing, amazing stuff there from Nova Esports. I think they really learned their lesson from yesterday. We can't take any matchup lightly. We have to come out swinging 100% from the play-in stage. That's the upside, right? That's the takeaway here.
Sure.
The teams are close enough that you have to treat every match with 100% of your effort.
Flash Wolves, of course, still in it. They play their elimination game later this week.
Yeah.
They
And that's
want
going to
play-
be, correct me if I'm wrong here, against the winner of Furious against Game Lords.
Correct. So Furious Gaming and Game Lords will play each other, and the winner goes on to play them. Nova Esports, though, they get to kick back in their hotel rooms, enjoy beautiful Singapore, take a selfie on the center stage, as they are the first team
I
to
gotta tell
make
you
it to
something,
groups here at Icons.
Nova did a great job with the mechanics in the Rift, but they're not really figuring out the
No,
mechanics
this
of
is
the
a
selfie
disaster.
here.
This
Did you see
is-
they had to swap players?
Yeah. Okay,
This
I
is
think
not
they figured
it.
out. Do you think you get all 5 in that
Yeah,
frame?
I feel like someone's not in the
I-
picture. I feel like someone's getting cropped out here.
Well, other things were... Oh, second time? Other things were doing better than the selfie. Nova Esports dominating on the Rift, perhaps not so much out of it. Flash Wolves have some serious work to do, as they've got a tough game coming up.
And this has always been my criticism of the Flash Wolves, right? They are such a stable team. They are such a solid team. But when it comes down to the clutch, when it comes out to pulling off the miracle play, they don't really manage to do it. They always fall short. And against a team like Nova, against a WRL team, you're going to need 110%.
Yeah.
They just shot that last 10%.
Well, much like the Yumi players in that game, you've proven yourself to be a bit of a snake, but a correct one. We'll throw
Always.
things over to Mika to sort that out.
I love the
TJ,
shade.
come on.
I love
You can't
the
do it like
shade.
that.
I did not see that coming. I was so taken aback by that. I'm living for it, though. Omo, yes, you were absolutely right. But we're going to have to talk backstage, okay? We're going to have to settle things
Oh
backstage.
my, are you okay?
But
Do you need backup?
I'm going to...
you need backup. I mean, I don't care, TJ. I don't care. You can be there. That's fine. That's fine. But we have to talk about this. Echo. This was an insane pick. This is the first time I've seen anything like it. And Nova Esports just brought it out and I think changed the jungle game completely with this one game. And Hells, you know, we saw so many amazing plays over here from Long. We already knew he was a good jungler. Then we saw him on the Echo.
6 jungle bans. He pulls off the Echo, and he still hard carries the game. I mean, what can Long not do? That should be the question right now. What can this guy not do? You can't ban him out, because if he can even do this on an Echo, who's a fairly new champion, he can do it on anyone.
Exactly, exactly. This champion is so new, so we haven't unlocked the full potential, you know, of this new champion just yet. And Stuart, we talked about this. The early game as well was, you know, quite questionable from Flash Wolves.
Yeah, so what happened in the early game was very, very similar to the first game. I think the early game was all about, you know, Flash Wolves and Nova kind of trading in terms of objectives. So Flash Wolves all the way down the bot lane, and then Nova was all the way up in the top lane as well. So it was really, really difficult for Flash Wolves to basically get anything.
Flash Wolves did better though this time. Flash Wolves did a very good job. As you can see right here, they were able to get that 1 kill. They were able to get Bruce ahead just a little bit. But then they, you know, later on in the game, it was just deja vu. And that's the story of this game, right? Like deja vu. The draft was the same. Here you can see, but like right here, Flash Wolves was still 1,000 gold ahead. But it didn't matter, because right after this, you can see they failed again. And Bruce, unfortunately, right after this, I'm not sure if we're gonna see it, but he flashed in the middle of Nova.
Yeah,
Basically
I think it
killed
was
him.
this.
Yeah, here,
Was it?
boom,
Yeah,
you see
he
that, right?
flashed it.
He just suicided himself in the fight. So you can see just Nova playing the game much better. And after this, it was just exactly the same as the first game.
Yeah, and I feel like Flash Wolves, there were so many times where I feel like they should have seen this coming if they really did do their homework with Nova Esports. But I don't think anybody could have prepared for an Echo Jungle and with Long, you know, behind this whole thing. And the way that Nova Esports was just able to play around it. We saw so many amazing plays, just like, was it this one? Was it this one, or I think we missed?
I think the
earlier.
replay, it was just a little bit before this play, I think. So there was basically a situation in the game where Echo used the second ability, Long used his second ability, and then what Neon did on Singe was he protobelt forward, he flipped a playback, I can't remember the player exactly, and then the timing was so perfect with the Echo W, Long was able to dash forward, and that means that you can't do anything. There you go, so look, the flip into the stun, and it's just, that combo is so hard because you have to get the timing perfect. You have to make sure the Singe flip is a perfect time for the Echo W so you can land the stun straight away. So a great pick coming out from Long as well, showing that he's got more than the hyper carries that he can play.
And to think that, I believe, like, this was a play with their jungler and their mid laner.
Wait, let's look at this one.
This was crazy.
Oh, it was right after the moment. Basically what happened, he got a triple kill with one ultimate. Long was able to get a triple kill with a single Echo ultimate. I mean, this is the pinnacle of Echo that you're gonna see, right? Like, this is the pinnacle of Echo, and it doesn't really get much better than this. Now, the question is, who can beat out this jungler? Who can beat out Long? And is this the best jungler in the world?
Possibly. Quite possibly. At the moment, I think Long makes a very, very strong case. And I just have to really commend Nova Esports here. Again, speaking objectively, I'm going to drop the SEA.
The bias.
Just a little bit to just be objective. They are playing with a sub.
Yeah.
They are playing with a sub. The synergy that they showed here was just amazing. You wouldn't think that this was a sub. You think that this was a team that's been training for years, which is just amazing because these teams have not had, especially those with subs, have not had a lot of time to practice. The fact that they were able to pull off that combo on a new champion, this is definitely a team to watch out for, not just in groups, all the way to playoffs, I think.
And I think the scary thing is now is that we have 2 out of 4 teams now in group stage. You know, Nova's made it through to the group stage. We've got 2 other Chinese teams playing as well. So will Chinese teams will they be able to do the full sweep in play-ins and get 4 Chinese teams into group stage? I think that would be incredible.
I mean, look at that. 17.5k damage on the jungle. You have DPS champions like the Singe in your team who did nothing compared to Long's damage right there. So, yet again, like Long just asserting his dominance in the jungle right there, you know. I'm very excited to see what he's going to be showing off in the group stage because they already qualified to the group stage right now. Like, these guys, they just wiped the floor with everyone in the play-ins.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
It's insane. That was the exact moment you mentioned, Stuart, how Flash Wolves, they were getting a little bit of the early game, but we kind of saw that there was a tipping point, and you actually called it out. You're like, oh, this isn't going to be good, because you knew at that point where the game was going to turn.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, the Flash Wolves in the early game, they got that bot lane tower in the early game. They got the first lane tower, I think it was like 2.5 minutes, was it?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, which is, you know, quite well played by Flash Wolves, because they realized that, you know, the bot lane tower, you can actually take that a lot earlier than the Baron lane tower, because in the bot lane, the tower is a lot weaker. There's not a lot of defenses compared to the Baron lane. So they got their bot lane tower, they got early advantages, but they weren't able to move that into anything else.
That's right. I got a little bit distracted over there because we are preparing, of course, for our next series of the day. But before that, we still have a quick interview, I believe, with Digon heading into the win with Nova Esports. And I do think that, you know, Nova Esports being the first group to, being the first team rather to qualify to the group stages here, that's a very strong case for the WRL teams. Let's not forget that Nova Esports, I believe, was not even the top seed from this region. This is just a sampler of what the WRL teams have in store. If Nova Esports can bring out the Echo, I really do wonder what, you know, as we proceed with the series today, JDG are going to show. I wonder what, the, you know, even like something like FPX, what are they possibly going to show?
Right, and that's the craziest thing, right? And that's honestly the scariest thing. We've seen JDG, we just saw Nova. Apparently there is a team even better than these guys from China. FPX. What the hell are these guys going to do?
That's what's blowing my mind right now, because we are basically we are seeing how Wild Rift is taking shape. The entire game, what these WRL teams are doing, they are basically just wiping the board and saying, no, this is how Wild Rift looks like today. And it's going to be totally different as we see every single team. In a few minutes, we're going to see JDG take the stage. What are they going to show? And as an SEA fan right now, again, I'm sweating underneath all of these lights.
China won SEA 0 today, but you've still got more chances though. Yeah, it's not over just yet. There's still more chances later on today.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the first loss for SCA, isn't it?
Yeah, for today. I'm keeping my cool. I'm trying not to freak out. Might I remind you guys that we do have a little consequence. Whoever gets the predictions wrong at the end of the day, we will have to draw on their face.
We've got one wrong already, so.
I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's a win-win either. I just want to draw. But we do have this interview with D-Gon over with Nova Esports, I believe. So D-Gon, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Icons 2022. D-Gon here with the victorious jungler from Nova Esports. It's long congratulations on the win.
首先呢，非常恭喜你们今天拿下了比赛的胜利。You can say just thank you. I like. 就你可以跟他说一些谢谢啊一类的。
哦，谢谢哥。
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, what was the big difference between today's matchup against Flash Wolves compared to yesterday's matchup against Furious Gaming?
觉得今天打的这场比赛跟昨天来讲最大的区别是在于哪里呢？
今天大家就是熟悉完赛场之后，发挥得更好了一些，就失误不会那么多。
Yeah, we get more familiar with the like the venue, so we can be more practiceful and be more like good at.
Great. Kind of wanted to get your thoughts on the strategy coming into Flash Wolves. You spent many bans down on the bottom side of the map against Bruce. Was that the game plan going in?
你们今天所有的班位都集中在了对面的射手位身上，为什么会有这样一个计划呢？
因为对面射手可能看着比较 C 一些，然后他们加上喜欢用软辅走下，就下的压力可能会大那么一点，就针对到 AD 就好了。
I thought their most carry one gonna be like for the Dragon Laner, so we put much focus on him, and he like to like support with some champion like Yumi. So I thought we can release the Yumi to them, just focus on the banner to that Dragon Laner.
Well, it definitely worked out here. You know, telling your story a little bit, you had the most MVPs in the WRL. Where do you think you rank among junglers in the world?
你是在 WRL 赛区拿下最多这个 MVP 的选手，那你觉得现在世界上最好的打野选手是哪一位呢？在英雄联盟手游里面？
我觉得是冠军0711吧，就是他毕竟是冠军嘛，他还是比较厉害一点。
I think the jungler 0711 from FunPlus may be the best one because he's a champion from WRL.
And then finally, I wanted to close out. What does it mean to you making it out of play-ins into the group stage?
对于你来讲的话，这次你们如果能够顺利的冲出小组赛的话，就是对你来说最大的意义是什么呢？
就冲出小组赛，大家就继续加油吧！就现在松了一口气，继续加油。
Yeah, I think we can just get a better confidence to be out of the group, and we can go far away from this icons this time.
All right. Well, congratulations on making it out of the play-ins. I'm sure you're going to do great in the group stage. Now let's send it back on to the desk to get to the rest of Icons 2022.
Okay, I heard him, so it's fine.
And thank you for that, D-Gon. We are